Yeah, and before that, we were going to have bloody Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx.
He was coming in, but
He got caught up
in traffic.
in traffic in Perth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's almost as bad as LA. The Mitchell Freeway. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
What a
Fucking Mitchell.
joke.
Who is Mitchell?
I don't know. Who's Graham Farmer?
How dare you?
I should know who he is.
Are you even?
I have no idea.
He's the footballer
Is he really?
from back in the day. Yeah, played for Geelong or some shit. I think he was
We named a
Indigenous.
freeway in Perth after a footballer from Melbourne.
Mm-hmm. No, he's from here, but he played in Melbourne because there wasn't no AFL back then. There was a waffle, but the VFL was bigger. He had a big handball on him, apparently.
I'm trying to sort of link that into the freeway itself. Something to do with a big handball and
Yeah,
the freeway. I've got nothing.
the tunnel or something.
It's barren.
Tunnel. Imagine, would that go to your head if you had a freeway named after you or anything?
Yeah, dude.
A physical structure named after you?
I would think that I'd have like the right to run down that freeway at any time naked and with no repercussions.
Hell yeah.
It's my freeway.
Yeah.
Fuck you all.
Yeah, just like run in front of cars.
Yeah. No
my freeway.
repercussions either.
Yeah.
Somehow the mystical freeway magic would save me.
Yeah,
Somehow, I don't know.
because there's a bit of your DNA
Yeah.
in that structure
I heard they took a sperm sample. And
of
they,
polypharma.
and they mixed it in to the
polypipe
asphalt.
into the polypipe.
Yeah, yes. They
From
took
the polypipe into the
from his-
polypipe.
Yeah. From his polypipe. The polypied piper.
Oh, so much disrespect.
Freeways are weird, hey?
I think he's dead.
Freeways are just weird. Like if you just took all the cars off and walked down it, that would just feel so strange.
Yeah, just a giant sidewalk. We feel quite unnecessary.
Yeah. Could you imagine like one day in the future when we don't have cars on the roads anymore?
I can imagine it, yeah.
Reclaiming all that land is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Like if you like zoomed out on the timeline of human history, you'd see like this little period where we invented cars and then we relied on them so heavily for a long time, maybe 300 years, 400 years would be the totality of it. And then at the end, so during that period, you just see all these roads like temporarily there. And then at the end of that period, once we move on to better technology and we don't rely on cars, like it'd just be like this little tiny period where we just had these weird road-like things.
Yeah.
And then, in the future, people would talk about roads like they were like these like bizarre concepts to people. Like, yeah, back your great granddad used to have roads. Here's a picture of him by the road. Like people would think of roads as like these crazy, like almost like sacred like structures, like pyramids or something.
People would worship, the asphalt gods.
Yeah.
It is. They're quite a cumbersome thing. You know those photos you see of, say, a photo of Perth like 60 years ago in the same spot as like a heavy traffic area and it's like dirt roads, and then you compare it to like, do you think it'll go the opposite? You'll see photos from, say, 100 years, you'll see photos from back in the day, 200 years, of like massive freeways, ramp structures, tunnels. And you'd be like, wow, now it's so much space now. It's less cluttered.
Yeah, they'd
You'd
be
be
like,
just kind of disgusted by it.
I would hope that the photo
Spectacle.
in the future would look like some kind of like tropical, like jungle forest with like some kind of like bio, like friendly structures of buildings and things, but mostly overrun with like growth and stuff, but natural, and people are walking in like these parklands and stuff.
Reintegration.
Yeah.
I feel like people would be much happier if there was, instead of just black asphalt everywhere, there would be more green.
Buildings that are completely matted with like growth. You've ever seen those ones in like Asia? And then, but like they're like kind of like biotech hybrid plants. So they operate exactly like plants do, but they also channel excess energy from the sun that the plants don't utilize. They're effectively like or like organic solar panels.
Yeah.
So they're also operating like plants do, converting carbon dioxide into oxygen, but also converting sunlight into energy for the building to utilize. That'd be cool.
What was that thing? What's the algae fella that we had on?
Oh, what's his name? It escapes me. I should be all over this stuff.
We've done 1,000 episodes, so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
tough.
1,000. Everyone.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say
Yeah. I don't know his name.
But he was saying
yeah.
that. Well, he was saying, and I also finished his sentence because I'm really intelligent. That grass is green because of the way it captures light. The only wavelength of light that it can't.
Oh yeah. It reflects every other.
Yeah, but green.
Yeah, yeah. That blew my mind. Like anything with color, it's just like what?
Yeah. There's a lot on the way in terms of light therapy.
Yeah.
I just read a study that I don't remember any of, so I won't go too far down that road. But yeah, there's a lot out there on light therapy that'll blow our minds.
I think there's still a lot for us to discover in that realm. There's so much more for us to discover. I was talking to a friend recently. I won't like talk about the exact context of the conversation, but effectively one of my points in the conversation was like every day that we wake up as a species, as a civilization, like we're making it up as we go. Each new day, each new sunrise, we're kind of waking up. Obviously, there's certain things that we know and we operate in certain ways that are very well established and we understand exactly what's happening. I mean, think about fucking going to McDonald's and, working at McDonald's, like, you know what you're doing. There's nothing really left to learn here. Yeah. But in the bigger picture, every day, every new day, it's like, we're making it up as we go collectively together. We're all in this together, kind of trying to figure it out. And I was saying like, anything that we think we understand, particularly to do with like social dynamics and how we organize ourselves socially and behave to one another, any way that we think is well established. And I actually was talking about this in the context of like marriage and how monogamous relationships typically work. I was like, who's to say that is the way that we are to behave? How could we be so foolish to think that like these long-standing traditions is just that's the be-all and end-all for this species. When you think about how we are just making it up as we go, it's like that. No, there could be better ways of doing things. We need to be open always to new ways to behave and operate.
Yeah, they also don't even have to necessarily be better ways.
Yeah.
They could just be enjoyable for the moment.
Yeah.
Because we don't really require much for survival anymore. We can really spread our wings a bit, you know what I mean? Because there's a whole probably relationship dynamics probably at a very base level center around survival, jealousy, continuing the race.
Yeah.
Continuing the species, sorry. Not just the race. Continuing the white race.
White supremacy.
And we're quite removed from all that now, or at least it feels like it. We're not removed from nature, but we're removed from our need to participate in some base biological functions.
I even, to an extent, apply that kind of reasoning out to why people have children. And I just think like, most of us, I'd say like the majority of us grow up just inherently, like instinctively, but also culturally, we're kind of influenced to just think, oh, we're just going to have kids one day. Like everyone sort of has this sense that they're going to have kids one day. And it's like, the most civilized like reasons for having kids is like it's this beautiful thing, like every parent always says like I never felt love like on this level or whatever, like all those kind of fancy little beautiful like sentimental like ideas around having children, but like fundamentally like we don't really need to breed as much as we do as a species. Like we don't really need to do that, and I think that maybe we in the future going forward, I think that like majority might swing in the other direction where it's more common for people not to have children, and then the population might for some time be decreasing a bit back to a more stable point. And because I do think that we have like an overpopulation problem. And I do think that a lot of the endeavors to solve that problem, especially around agriculture and whatnot, are great. But I also think like we need to sort of reevaluate like our idea of procreation and like we're still governed by instincts that tell us we need to be breeding, but it's like, and then we kind of, and that's like the sentimental statements, sentimental statements is kind of like us putting the context of our instincts to breed into a modern day context by saying like, it's so beautiful, it's such a wonderful thing. But really that's like our brains kind of appropriating instinctive behavior to breed to survive into the context of a modern world where we don't need to breed to survive. So we just make it some kind of beautiful, like meaningful thing.
You don't have to worry because VR porn's going to solve all that.
Oh yeah.
No one's going to be fucking anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be fucking weird. I mean, it is weird.
It is weird. So
I've never tried it.
I don't mean to derail your beautiful rant.
No, go.
into disgusting territory. Someone was saying, I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and someone was saying there's a problem with the scale of virtual reality porn.
Right.
There's scaling issues. Like you look up and the person is about like 20% bigger than they should be. They're like a giant.
Whoa.
Or they're like, you'll look down and they'll be tiny.
Yeah.
Because they haven't quite got it figured out yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is fair enough. They haven't figured out like how to recreate, existence itself.
Yeah.
But sometime they'll get it. They'll get it someday.
That's weird. I wonder if we're going to like descend into VR porn, and because of those issues that are still there, we're going to like become like have our minds like twisted and think that that's the norm, is to like look down and see tiny people and look up and see massive people. And we just go like this. We become like an entire race or entire like civilization of people that have like these weird kinks around like this, that Alice in Wonderland syndrome kind of thing, like things being too big or small, and that'd be weird.
Well, that's the thing, is it? What is that? Alice, I've heard of that before. Alice in Wonderland syndrome. That's a real thing. Yeah,
I think it's when Molly actually gets it sometimes. She hasn't experienced it for a while, but essentially she'll be like in a room or something, and she'll just get like this almost like a vertigo sensation, and she'll start to perceive herself as being much smaller than the objects around her. And so like similar to when what happens to Alice? She drinks that potion or whatever and becomes like way too big, or
yeah.
No, she goes really small to get into the door, something like that.
And then she gets a bit big. I don't know. It's been a while.
It's your perception of yourself versus the things that are around you becomes like way disproportionate.
I get something similar, but like in a different way. Like I'll be in bed or something and I'll be touching like the doona.
Yeah.
And it'll feel like a table.
Like hard.
Yeah, it'll feel like hard.
Oh,
and
wow.
it'll also, the size perspective will feel weird. It'll feel like I'm sort of shrunken down or something. And something hard will at the same time feel soft.
Yeah.
Just a very strange feeling, like touching anything.
How long does it last for?
Like 20 minutes.
Whoa.
And if I fall asleep, then I'll have a horrible nightmare. If I fall asleep during that sensation, I'll have like a nightmare that I'm dying.
Like if you're under the covers, you might feel like you're in like a coffin, like everything around you is like solid and hard and dark.
Yeah, but like, it's weird. Like the sensation is flipped.
Yeah.
But it still feels like, if it's something soft, it feels hard. It's so hard to explain. It's so abstract.
That is weird.
It feels soft, but it's also, you have an idea that it's hard at the same time. Yeah, and you feel like really, everything feels like really large around you. Yeah. And if I fall asleep, I'll have one of my reoccurring nightmares that are...
Oh, the ones about dying.
Yeah.
So they were like consistent now, like they're still happening?
Oh, no, it doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
It just gets triggered by certain physiological imbalances.
Yeah. Imbalances.
Yeah. Overwhelming dread. Yeah.
True dread, like that feeling of dread is like unbearable.
Yeah. I guess it's the highest echelon of negative feeling,
Yeah.
dread. I'd rather feel sad than dread.
It's like, I perceive it anyway as like uncontrollable fear, but not directed towards any particular stimulus. It's just a general sense of overwhelming fear.
Doom.
Yeah.
Doom.
Existential.
Doom.
It's the
Nightmare,
ego,
nightmare,
right?
nightmare.
It seems to be completely driven by the ego because, I mean, to like dissolve the ego.
Yeah,
and
dread doesn't exist.
Yeah, you don't have any existential concerns.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I don't want to rant about the ego, but what a problem child that is. I mean, it has its benefits. We developed it for a reason.
Yeah, it's a reason why we're here.
You know, that's like, I mean, if I ever talk to someone about the ego, and like particularly like in a psychedelic context, and I want to kind of explain what it is and what it represents in us, like what's like echelon of traits we possess that are like driven by the ego. I just like compare the ego to Donald Trump, and that's a great sort of. He's
like, if someone wrote him as a character, and you read that, you'd be like, "Come on, this is too like on the nose." As a physical manifestation of ego, as a symbol.
Yeah.
Like, this is too obvious. You make it like more subtle or more interesting. I don't know.
More nuanced and
yeah, but he's just like straight up unfiltered.
Yeah.
Out of a book about archetypes. Out of a Joseph Campbell book.
Yeah. Maybe he's like, most people exist like, I don't know, the ego is like a small part of like an internal part of most individuals, but with him it's like the ego is the outer shell, and then deep within him there is this like empathetic, caring humanity that just lives inside of him.
Yeah, but it's all shriveled.
Yeah, it's like a little tiny little heart the size
like
of
the
a
Grinch.
Yeah.
What does that say about the American population, or just that the overall psyche of the entire country, that's what's manifested?
Yeah, that's like kind of what the culmination of all the Americans, like that's what
the collective
the
consciousness
society coughed up.
Yeah.
Was just this like, yeah.
That's probably why people don't like hate politicians so much, is because like they don't agree with their headspace is in a different headspace to the rest of the country that created what it created, or that voted in what it voted in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like they're like each politician is like some kind of like, I always think about this in terms of celebrity, but I guess in politics it could work as well. Like celebrities largely represent like the beliefs and values of like a column of society, and they're sort of like this figure that sort of percolated through that column of people right to the top, where they're like the most well known for those particular traits and characteristics, and then they have like a big following of people that resonate with that kind of representation. And I guess in politics maybe that's the same thing. This like column of ideas kind of manifests in this like individual who is like the most visible representation of that idea,
and generally has a very strong ego as well.
Yeah,
very unaware of it running amok.
Yeah,
controlling every move they make.
I like people like the Batuta Advocate because they kind of deconstruct it for everyone to get on board with.
Something, yeah. I wonder how taxing it is for those websites, for the people that write for those websites, to constantly be in the mental space of having to break down everything into its compartments to make a satire piece. Yeah. You know what I mean? To always have to look for to always have to read their intuition and stuff. And
that's kind of an exhausting way to look at the world.
Yeah.
That's like the heaviest like lenses you could ever wear, you know? I was going to say rose tinted, but not always.
No.
But it's very heavy. It's a
Shit-tinted.
burden to just wear and look at everything like just in that way.
Yeah. You just subscribe to Channel 7 News on Facebook and just read their posts. Subscribe. I'm out of the loop of what you do on the internet.
Yeah.
Do you subscribe to things on Facebook?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Sunrise, I don't know. Read what they do.
Oh, some of the trash that they put out. Channel 7 in particular. So biased.
So obsolete.
Oh, yeah.
I've noticed that they cover a lot of murder stories and a lot of like old people who go missing in the bush.
Yeah.
Like they're fiends for that stuff.
I thought we got past this. I thought this was just something that still happened in America, but the media just being this fear mongering,
Yeah.
like hysteria building entity. I thought, you know what, Australian media, we're not too bad really. But I see Channel 7 now and I'm like, we've gone
really
backwards.
bad. Yeah. I think we're actually pretty shit.
Yeah.
Like I remember like a few weeks ago there was a grandma that went missing in the bush somewhere.
Yeah.
And they covered it like from start to finish.
Fucking hell.
Like for 2 or 3 days. Because the cricket was on, so I had to watch.
Yeah.
I had to have that channel on. And whenever they go to the news updates, they talk about grandma's still missing.
She's still missing, guys.
I'm like, man, I shouldn't know this. Can't do anything about it. Not related to him.
Yeah.
She either has Alzheimer's and she'll be fine, she'll be found, or she's dead. And I don't want to think about any of that.
Yeah. This is going to be a bad cricket reference, but it's like, we're just going to go to an ad break while Sean Marsh tries to find a few runs, and we're trying to find a grandma in the bush. Who's going to find what they need first?
Is Sean Marsh going to get his 100, or is that grandma going to be found?
Going to live.
Probably the grandma going to be found before Sean gets a test 100.
That's a dirty contrast, hey? You're just like happily watching the cricket. You've had a few beers, probably got your mates around. And then this fucking geriatric nightmare comes on.
Yeah. Start thinking about your own grandma. Oh, God, what if she went missing?
I've kind of connected the dots recently with the rising popularity of like serial killer type sort of documentary podcasts. Like Serial, which is I think Serial is an Australian one.
Piss me off.
It is annoying, but
because people are like, we just found out podcasts are things like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
you fuck bastard. That's not a podcast.
Yeah, I've never listened to one personally, but I do think they are popular for a reason. Like they must be really captivating. Like just that part of the individual that's just like it's like why we slow down to watch an accident on the freeway. You just like you want to see something fucked up, and it sort of takes you out of your like arbitrary reality and into a world of fear and paranoia and concern and stuff like that and murder. But big win. I think it's a big win for podcasting because from my understanding, like so the success that some of these podcasts have had in that realm have kind of catalyzed a resurgence of serial killer documentaries as well on Netflix. So it's kind of good to see because I always thought like Netflix is obviously like the kingpin of like entertainment media at the moment. Like they're obviously doing really well and producing their own Netflix original things, series and stuff. But to see the influence channel become like a two-way street between a lesser known medium of podcasting to kind of influence that as opposed to maybe the other way around, I guess. Or I don't even see there to be normally a relationship between those things because podcasting is such a it's like off the grid in a way. Sort
of.
Like
it's in people's cars and it's very personal.
It's not confined to mainstream ideas. It can go into a territory that can be a lot more niche. Yeah.
Have you seen the Ted Bundy documentary?
I've watched a couple episodes and I did enjoy it.
I can never sit through anything for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
But I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
What a mind.
Yeah. It's so bizarre. It's like there's nothing behind his eyes. Like he's saying things that sound intelligent, but it's like he just picked it up somewhere.
Yeah.
He's just repeating it.
Yeah, like a monkey see, monkey do. Like he doesn't have any genuine humanity to him that he's developed through relationships and social conditioning. But he's like the kind of guy that would sit down and watch like a fucking sitcom, and that's where he would develop a sense of humor from like, oh, he did this and this is what the response was, like very analytical and like.
That's another creepy thing that
Yeah.
people do. Just quoting movies and stuff as their humor. But he was like so creepy in the fact that in the sense that he would just seemingly not really be fazed by what he did or who he was.
Yeah.
He would murder people and then go to the beach and be like, I feel euphoric.
Yeah.
And be at and even when he was in jail, it never really seemed like he was scared or regretful or just totally disconnected.
Yeah.
Unbelievable that like he's also a human like me and you.
Yeah.
But he's off doing that shit and his brain functions like that.
Yeah.
Like I wish we could get like an autopsy.
That would be fascinating.
I don't know if there was because they didn't say anything about it in the documentary. They sort of went down that path for a little bit, talking about like, if you get it like an insanity plea.
Yeah.
I don't think any of this is really spoilers, but they never really talked about that. If he had like a growth on his brain or.
That's a big thing, hey?
Yeah.
Because it could even have been the Ted Bundy incident, the context, or I think there was another case in America of a guy that murdered someone. I think it was just a spontaneous one-off murder, and he pled insanity and on the grounds that he had some kind of growth pressing on his brain that was controlling his like the part of his brain that plans and like kind of dictates his behaviors. And
became more aggressive.
Levels of aggression and stuff. Yeah. And so they were trying to put that ahead. But it's like, I don't know if he actually got that removed and then it was like he was just fine. But like there's so much we don't know about the brain and like and free will and things like that.
Yeah.
That it all gets tied into a really complex discussion about, I
also feel like a lot of people who are hyper violent, say murderers or people who get close to murdering people, assault people. I feel like, say 10,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, that sort of brain chemistry, that personality, those characteristics would have been somewhat beneficial and integrated into a tribe or whatever, because they would have been the frontline psychopaths who would be excited by finding new territory and taking over new territory. So I feel like they would have got their bloodlust via helping their people. Yeah. But now everyone's kind of disconnected and
we don't experience that kind
part
of
a
conflict.
Whole, sort of a global community, and we're not really like tribe by tribe.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, that's
There's no
interesting.
purpose for hyper violent people anymore.
And they talk about, a lot of those people talk about like it makes them feel relaxed and it's like a release for them to take a life and to kill someone in a violent manner. And well, I guess it is violent, inherently violent, but but I wonder though if it is, obviously it is a damaging condition in today's society, but I wonder if it was back then as well, because it seems like even though they are killing and that is what we used to do back in the tribal days, like it seems like the real problem is that they can't identify who is. Like, they have problems working out who's in our tribe and who's not, so they just kill like just without any filter. So I wonder if they would have been problematic back in the tribes then, because they might have killed their own members of the tribe.
Possibly.
Or if they got that release that they needed from conflict,
It's amazing if that's a genetic trait that's continued to. That's why I feel like it must have been utilized at some point because
Yeah.
they would have been ostracized psychopaths,
Yeah.
violent psychopaths.
Oh,
Or they
man.
might have lived solo and continued to breed or whatever.
Like sort of become more nomadic and
This is some
broke off.
real like armchair ancient anthropology sort of stuff. But
I'd love to get an anthropologist in. Oh, well, actually, no, we do have someone, but he's at the University of New South Wales, Professor Rob Brooks.
Oh.
Been talking to him, but he's not. I wanted to see if he was coming to Perth anytime soon. But good to have that one in the bag in case he ever does.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an anthropologist around,
Yeah. Surely. Yeah.
someone doing a PhD.
Yeah. They're the best conversations. There's so much to be said about that. Just about human behavior, and
Oh yeah,
it's just endless interesting conversation to be had there.
it is because I mean, besides the whole free will thing, which is a whole topic on its own,
Yeah.
human behavior, I feel like in the grand scheme of the natural world, human behavior is so unpredictable, chaotic, non-structured in comparison to how, say, how our body works or how the environment around us works.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. God damn.
Like it can follow Occam's razor. It might not follow Occam's razor. Like the simplest solution is the solution, or the simplest. What is it? The simplest idea is
Like
no, the
prevails or
simplest
something?
path. Yeah, is this path that is taken. But
Yeah.
like the human brain, that's definitely not the
Yeah.
case, is it? It's like we can work our way around a thing, and do something the long way, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
see a problem and self-sabotage basically,
Yeah.
which would make no sense in the natural world. Like
Yeah.
you see the thing and you do the thing, but as we know, that's just not how the brain works.
Yeah. I think we've advanced to a point that we're just so far removed from the natural world. In many ways,
Yeah,
it's
our brains specifically, like a specific part of our brains, because we're definitely not removed from the natural world, and it's
No,
creating
yeah.
a lot of problems
Yeah.
that
yeah.
we think we are, but there is something to it, that there is some separation going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because, I don't know. I mean, there's a hog. I don't know why I brought up a hog as an example of the natural world.
Yeah.
That's the pinnacle of nature, a hog. Would they see a path to some food they smell and think, oh, no, I'm going to go the scenic route. Got to
Yeah.
go around to that bit because I like the look of that sort of tree and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Is that just because we're self-aware about our own survival? Like when you know you don't need to take the simplest route, when you know you have time on your hands, when you know that time is a thing that exists, maybe that's when chaos starts to develop.
Yeah, I think
in
when
the
you
head.
have time and security and some level of certainty about the future,
Yeah.
then a lot of interesting things start to bubble up. I don't like that. I don't think that that's confined to just humans. I think that there are in some instances in the animal kingdom where animals, I mean, even dolphins, like just the fact that we know that they recreationally
Play and stuff, yeah.
fornicate, and
Oh, yeah,
play.
yeah.
And like, yeah, I think as soon as you transcend the day-to-day struggle with survival, then you start the higher order like behaviors start to
Yeah.
become prevalent. And
It's amazing that it's
Yeah.
there. There's got to be a reason for it, that in times of rest, the brain spirals
yeah,
and starts to, I guess it's just progress.
starts to tell
When you're-
stories around the campfire and
Yeah.
communicate with one another, and socialization, I think, was big to kind of fast track our development.
Yeah. come up with new ideas, new strategies.
Yeah. It's like we're just these entities like bouncing all this information around, trying to find new combinations and iterations of knowledge that can allow us to transcend to higher levels of thinking. And then it continues on and on. And now with the internet, it's just like this, everything's moving at the speed of light, just and it's like that process of sending out information and receiving it and adapting your thinking and developing new ideas on like building blocks is like become like exponential. And it's just like, whoa, too much, too quick.
I was thinking this the other day while I was trying to sleep.
Oh yeah.
Obviously I couldn't sleep. I was thinking, is time really a thing? Which is the title of this video. Is time a thing?
Is it a thing?
In the sense that is time linear really, and is time an actual tangible thing? Because what is it really? It doesn't actually begin and end. The only thing that begins and ends is matter. Oh no, matter doesn't even disappear really. It just is just created and destroyed. You know what I mean? It just dissipates somewhere else.
Yeah.
Physical structures begin and end. Civilizations begin and end. But time isn't really a thing that can be sort of captured.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is a big one.
Like this, everything around. I've started thinking that the past and the future then probably aren't even don't exist anymore. Obviously, they're not even in this realm. They're like a soup, because time doesn't say like there's the past and then the present and then the future. It's not, because time doesn't go like that. It's just it's just there, time there. Like things happened in the past, but that's not time. That's just things that happened.
Yeah.
And everything else around the present moment is like a soup full of potential.
I forget the word that describes this. And I'm probably going to butcher it, but
Go ahead.
like our perception of time is like informed by, I really need that word because it's going to help me get through this. But essentially, like the past, we know what's happened in the past. Like, so time in a sense is like we're moving constantly into more chaos and uncertainty. Entropy, yeah. We're moving towards entropy. And so that's why we have this idea of the past and the future, and the characteristics of those being that the past is more certain than the future because it was more orderly back then.
It was orderly because it already happened.
Yeah. And so we can study that and look at how things have happened, and we can trace back into time very well.
Because we're able to tabulate.
Yeah, because you can make sense of order and things, and you can, if you're moving towards looking at things that go from chaos into more orderly behaviors, you can actually map that, and that's the past. But the future, because it's descending into chaos and becoming more uncertain, we can't make any predictions or any like realistic predictions.
And we're notoriously terrible at predicting things.
Yeah,
We're terrible at it.
So those characteristics is like why we had this weird idea that like what's going to happen next is like unknown to us, and it's I love that. That's so weird. I like to swirl that around in my head like a wine, just to really think about what that is and what it means and what I think it means.
Because when I thought about it, I was like, well, time, how can time have a beginning and end as a concept? Is it just always buzzing right here in this present moment? All that to say, hey, just live in the moment, man.
Yeah, man, live in the moment. Time's a thing.
Time's a thing.
God damn.
I don't know how to move on from that.
Yeah,
I couldn't, because I couldn't sleep. I didn't know how to move on.
Yeah.
I'm glad I could recite that, because usually you think about things like, oh, fuck. And then you forget it the next day, especially when you're thinking about it at night or in the shower.
Like the 20 minutes, it could be anywhere between 20 minutes to an hour and a half before I fall asleep at night, that I like intensely analyze my day. I know all the behaviors and everything that went on, and some really like deep analysis, and it almost kind of like, it's like some kind of like self-imposed therapy.
Or like a meeting, end of the day meeting.
Yeah, with my
with yourself.
It's very strange, but it's like I need to do that. I've done that since a very young age. I just need to like put all the pieces together of the day, which I don't know. It's kind of like taking away the work that my dreams need to do. Trying to kind of, you know,
the very weird work that it does.
Yeah, like tries to sort of compartmentalize things and process information and pack things away and stuff. And sometimes you can't. Snag a hitch. You hitch a snag.
Hitch a snag. Yeah.
Hitch a snag.
You snag a hitch.
Snag a hitch. You hag a snitch.
Snitch a hag.
You hit a snag and you can't get past that information. I think that's when dreams get real kooky. It's when like you get to some sort of information from your day that your brain is struggling to process, and so it like blows that idea out into all the possible iterations and abstractions and stuff, and then you end up with just these wild dreams where you're getting chased by like cricket monsters and
I was about to say I couldn't make sense of like one that I had recently where it's like, so it's very bizarre how like it'll instantly change to a different scenario, a different setting seamlessly.
Yeah.
But like I just sort of transitioned to one scene where like a giant dinosaur sort of creature was chasing me in a giant undercover car park sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then I ran away and I instantly transitioned into some weird video game platforming sort of scenario with another person with me, and we both had lightsabers. Cool. And they got left behind and like fucking quite violently murdered. Like not in a way you see in Star Wars.
By the dinosaur? Or?
No, by another person with a lightsaber. Yeah.
Oh shit.
And went through them like like violently.
Yeah.
Not just went through them like
It was like a stab.
Yeah.
They weren't cut in half or anything. Just
and their shirt went with it like to the back.
Whoa, that's...
And then I woke up and was like, what is my brain trying to tell me there?
Yeah.
What can I possibly get from that?
Did you recognize the person? It was an unknown.
No, it was one of those like faceless sort of...
Oh, the faceless.
Yeah. You're like, there's a face there, but I don't know what, you know.
Apparently, when you attribute faces to people in your dreams, it like we don't have the ability to make up a face in that much detail out of nothing. Like it's always drawing on characteristics of faces that we've seen.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the entire face is exactly as the face we've seen, or if the eyes and the nose and stuff would be like pick and pull like a mosaic of different people we've seen, and it kind of makes a face that looks unrecognizable. It's weird.
It's so bizarre, man. We're literally, our brains are CGI animators or something.
Yeah.
They're literally creating another reality in our heads.
That's exactly...
A movie in our head. Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How can we picture... I can see you right now and I overlaid. I can like picture a scenario happening.
Yeah.
What?
It's so weird.
Abstract. What?
That's I know a lot of people tell me that they and I get this as well, is like in my dreams I'll be flying, but I'll be flying at like walking speed. Like I can never fly gracefully and just like fucking Superman.
Yeah.
And I always think that maybe that's, and because everyone I know seems to have that or has had that dream one way or another, or to some degree just not being able to move as quick as they want to.
Yeah.
And I think that that's because like we only have a finite amount of processing power to render the dream landscape. So if we were, and that kind of like filters into the narrative. So if we were to be able to move faster than we can't move faster than our dreams can render the landscape around us. I think it just feels true.
Yeah, it does. like a video game, like render distance
Yeah.
is short. Speaking of video games, I just realized that, you know how you press the start button and you pop up the menu, like the map. I feel like that's how it would have worked, say, again, 20,000 years ago, the original human, we would have used our ability to visualize in our head
Yeah.
to map out the terrain.
Yeah.
Literally like a video game map.
Yeah.
But it's just as time goes on and we've created more concepts, we've created more structures, it's got more and more complex, and now we're literally able to replicate the outside world with that same visual imaging
Yeah.
software.
Like we've kind of taken that technology and put it into an external framework. Yeah.
Using that same software, but we've like ramped it up with mods.
Yeah.
Heavily.
Yeah.
It's exactly how it would have been back then, right? Like you would have used that visualizing to visualize where you live up, top down, like
like create like some kind of 3D model.
Yeah.
Of your environment.
Yeah, like a video game start menu.
Yeah.
Damn.
Ooh.
That's why visualizing is such a good tool for memory.
Yeah.
I say it's like the best way to remember things. And it totally works. Like learning anatomy or whatever, like to actually connect concepts and names to the actual structure.
Yeah.
Or phenomenons to like the actual movement of it. So if you're like trying about, what are the four purposes of bones and bone structure, and you think in your head movement. I see a picture like that, a movement there, and then like protection of the organs. And then you remember like skull and ribs, like just some sort of abstract like way that's easy for you to remember. Like the image of like the brain behind the skull. And you're like, that's it. There.
Yeah.
Attaching images to concepts.
I virtually every single time I think of going out for dinner, like with my girlfriend or whatever,
Chats out.
I literally imagine myself flying through the streets of Perth
Google Maps
in
style.
like areas that I know there's restaurants and seeing the names of them and going, oh, fucking Italian, I might go there. I might go to Il Chow on Canning Highway or whatever it is. Like I have no other way of coming up with ideas for food. Like that's, I've always relied on that.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like a weird list in your head that doesn't, because you can't, it's hard to visualize a bunch of words. Some people can do it, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And like back in high school, I used to, like when I'm trying to study information, I'd literally imagine my house as like a store, an information store. And I'd like go into like familiar areas in the house, like in my room, and I'd have like objects that are always, I know, in the same place. And like I would go and like have an imaginary filing cabinet that I'd put away certain information. And like I would just leave information in certain areas, and then I could like recall that stuff so clearly because then it only relied on my ability to mentally walk into the room and look at the objects, and immediately I had that reference for the information that it was like encoded into it. That was weird, but I like that.
Did it worked well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't used it though since high school, but I haven't even that. I only just remembered then.
And then flick through the PowerPoint slide of like images.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really fun too. When you get it right, you're like, I remembered that. It worked. The software pulled through.
Yeah. It did good.
Because it's easy for the hardware to pull through, you know? You can work on a certain technique or, I don't know, a body part, a muscle group. It's pretty straightforward. But when it comes to the brain, it's a little more squirrely.
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 What's the time?
Time isn't real.
Oh yeah.
It's not really a thing.
10:48. I reckon that's pretty solid. That was like a speed. We just hit some shit.
Yeah.
Like really hardcore.
We always go very quickly into the most abstract thing that's kicking around in our heads.
Yeah.
This is the outlet for it.
Yeah. This podcast for us is, I feel like, the ski slope, you know?
Yeah.
In your mind, as soon as you just got to get to the top of the mountain and sit on the sled, and then you're time, what's time? Dreams.
Why flying through the air. Yeah. It's always tribalism.
It always comes back to tribalism.
Yeah.
Jesus. Nah, good rap. I think we probably gotta wrap it though, because I gotta take a massive shit.
Oh, nice. That's
Nah, I don't know. It was just for comedic effect.
Oh. Shit in die hammock.